Yo everybody, C4RQ here once again with another podcast, Supremor. Today I'm going to do something a bit different. I'm going to start my Injustice sort of podcast, so I'm going to find as many people as I can. If I can find a lot of people, I'll do the same sort of scoring system I'm doing with Marvel and Cross Tekken at the moment. It's going to be a bit difficult where to add in characters every, 3 or 2 weeks, but anything like that. But anyway, back to this podcast. If you want to introduce my guest, go for it, mate. Tell people about yourself, what you do, who you are, who you play.
Well, hello guys, this is RZR CG Ketchup here, and I'm just a competitive Injustice player in the UK. I used to play Mortal Kombat 9 when that came out, and yeah, I just basically do all I can to support the game, go to any tournaments if they're available, and I've been playing ever since it came out.
Yeah, I want to thank you a lot, man, for coming and kicking off my Injustice podcast. I definitely think Injustice is one of those games that's got pretty good exposure considering how unknown it was. Obviously, the engine's slightly different in some people's eyes to like Mortal Kombat, so it was kind of like a brand new game. Obviously, a brand new cast as well. Everyone knows DC characters, but no one had any idea of how anyone played, and it got really good support, I think, from the FGC. Obviously, how it was pushed with the testers, Arturo and Tom Brady and stuff, really pushed it out. I feel that there's definitely a lot more to discover, but we can talk about that when I talk about all the updates and nerfs. So yeah, first of all, the first thing I wanted to ask you personally is what you thought about, if anyone saw the Wednesday night fight, I think it was Battlegrounds, i.e. Battlegrounds. Basically, there was a Zod glitch that was abused to its fullest. It was pretty stupid. It hurt me to see it. Only because I saw the player cam. The person who did it, what was it, Wonder?
That was a Wonder Chef.
Wonder Chef, sorry. Yeah, Wonder Chef was doing it to, I believe it was SoCal. Yeah, he done 2 glitches, one involving the laser beam that hit the ground and it caused a flame. And basically, it stayed there on the screen. So it took a while, but then eventually Wonder pushed him or got him in block stun, made him move into the flames, and then he just died to death. It turned out to be like a 101 hit combo where he just literally burnt to a crisp, and it took a good 30 seconds of the player cam showing the salt on the guy's face, and it was cringing while Wonder was just laughing his head off. Then he done another glitch where he done a grab setup where he couldn't recover from the grab, so he stayed on the ground for a good 70 Injustice seconds. Tried to timer scam him, but it didn't work out in his favour. But yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts on 2 things. Obviously, the reception that the glitch has got. Obviously, people thinking, oh, this game's stupid. There's always bugs in it, always updating it. And obviously, your thoughts on someone doing that in a tournament. Obviously, it wasn't a major, but what's your thoughts on people doing that in tournament play?
Well, I think if one video of Injustice was going to get shared around all over the place, I think it's unfortunate that it was just a video showcasing, one player using, one glitch that one character has.
Yeah.
I personally, although obviously it's an infinite and it's a complete exploit and it's something that's not supposed to be in the game, which is being used to win. A lot of people think that probably is an unfair win and that stuff. I think people are getting a little bit too up in arms about it purely because this doesn't justify it, but it's getting removed very soon. This patch, the new patch is just around the corner, which is obviously going to buff and nerf characters. A few mechanics are being changed again, like we do get every patch, minor changes to that. And basically every single glitch that Zod has is getting removed in this next patch. When it comes to a character in Injustice, Zod is definitely like the most broken in terms of glitches. Like, he's fundamentally the most buggy character. So he has all these kind of, really weird tricks that you can do with him, like as of now.
Mm-hmm.
But they're getting removed. I don't really see why everyone is sort of exploding about it, purely because, it's a player using an infinite at a weekly. Like, we see players use infinites all the time. I mean, just look at the cross counter tournament for Street Fighter X when that came out. I don't think it was Sugar BMX, it was someone like that. They were just using the Kazuya infinite.
Yeah, it was against Maximilian, wasn't it?
I think it was.
Someone else, yeah.
But he used the Kazuya infinite, live at the tournament, and it's just kind of like infinites are in fighting games, and until they get patched out or banned, players will use them. I just don't think it's a humongous deal purely because it's not like this was discovered the second Zod came out and everyone used it at majors to win. It's Wonder Chef, who I know probably used it because he was against Superman and he hates Superman. And
he doesn't.
You know, it's getting removed. It's something that's not going to be in the game for much longer, and that's kind of it, really.
Yeah, that's cool because that brings me on to our next question. Basically, what do you think about how NetherRealms are updating Injustice? Personally, I don't like it. Obviously, I understand that certain things need addressing, updating, nerfs, normalizing, but I feel they're doing it too frequently, and it's hindering some characters where it's like, oh, I found this, and now it doesn't work, or now there's something better. Or, and vice versa with matchups. It's like, oh, I've figured out how to fight this character, but, oh no, now they've got this. I think it works both ways. As obviously, the company have certain nerfs and buffs that they want to put into the game where they might want a character to be played in a specific way. And then some of the nerfs and buffs they're doing is because of the FGC complaining. And basically, I've seen...
Stroke.
Yeah, exactly. Even when... I never played Deathstroke. I never really went up against a really good Deathstroke, but I could see the gap. It's not hard to see the gaps in his gun strings. And I just feel like, people were too quick to moan. Instead of finding out tech against this thing that they're worried about or can't get around, they're just going to moan and get it taken away. And I think, personally, I think it breeds really lazy, bad players. I don't know what you think.
I think there is, like I said, there is a different, the kind of players that were responsible for nerfs of specific characters. For example, like, I don't think the Deathstroke nerf, the Deathstroke nerf wasn't really due to, sort of tournament or high level players complaining that the character was too powerful, because a lot of people agreed, not on launch, about sort of a few weeks after that, okay, well look, we may have overreacted. Deathstroke isn't, as broken as we originally thought because you can dash block his projectiles. They are unsafe at certain ranges and all that stuff. I think the players that were responsible for the Deathstroke nerf were, for lack of a better term, online scrubs. They really didn't want to learn how to fight the character. So they just a lot of online players that may not have necessarily played too many fighting games. They may have played Injustice because NetherRealm Studios games are quite accessible for new players because of the whole, the string system and all that kind of stuff. I think it's a lot of players that generally probably played Injustice, did the story mode, did the arcade ladder on hard, thought they were ready to play online, fought a keep away Deathstroke, and then thought the character was too good. The issue with that is, even now Deathstroke has been nerfed, it's not stopped me from playing the character because I actually played him. I picked up Deathstroke after the character was nerfed because I played Lobo originally.
Right.
I still get shed tons of rage mail, and 90% of my players I fight online, if they're not friends of mine, will just quit out. They'll send me messages, they'll call me cheap, they'll call me a spammer and all that stuff. And it's mainly just because the player is the problem, it's not the character. Whether the Deathstroke was nerfed or not, the player I'm against still refuses to dash block. They will still try and jump. They still refuse to respect frame advantage on gunshots. They'll get hit out of the air. They just get hit on wake up, and they just keep dashing into gunshots and losing on its own. It doesn't matter that the character has been nerfed because the issue wasn't the character. The issue was the player.
Yeah.
But I think addressing your sort of concerns about patching, I think a lot of people are. It generally feels like they're making too much of a big deal about patches, purely because the patches, whether people like to believe it or agree with it or not, the patches do act the game every time. Characters do get nerfed, characters do get buffed. Characters that have too good of tools do lose them. I mean, out of all the things Deathstroke lost, I think the chip damage on his gunshots was justified. Like the chip damage on the gunshots, it was too extreme because the main way to beat Deathstroke gunshots is to be very patient and slowly work your way in.
You can't do that with a chip damage.
Exactly. If he does too much chip damage, you're not going to be able to get in easily because you're going to be on a time limit.
Right.
But things like Black Adam's dive kick being safe. They nerf things like Killer Frost's damage, so her vortex now isn't as broken as it was, and all that kind of stuff. And obviously the universal buff of the down 2. So nearly every character has a decent anti-air now.
Yeah.
These buffs make the game better, and all the buffs are doing now especially with the up and coming one, with the changes to Lobo, Shazam, Bane. They're not making it easier for the character to handle bad matchups. They're making it more rewarding for you to play your game once you get the chance to. So, like, it's Shazam and Lobo have a hard time getting in. We're not going to buff them so they can get in for free, like loads of people probably wanted. We're just going to give them buffs to their existing moves and the way you can use these moves so that once you actually get in, you get a bigger reward for the way you're playing the character. And you're being patient, your reward is more damage, more range on strings, or whatever the hell your characters are getting given.
Yeah, again, that kind of follows up to my next question. Talking about Lobo, what do you think about the way NetherRealms are kind of adding characters to the game? I know there's obviously, before there was sort of with Cross Tekken, for example, it was kind of like if you want to be good at this game, you've got to pay. So you had to get the other characters to learn the matchups. Where obviously Injustice is a bit different, where it's every 3 weeks or so they bring out another character, and it kind of makes you have to think differently about your personal gameplay because there's another character added to the fold. So everything you knew might be thrown out. Even with the updates, with characters it's a lot different as well, because some people might still be in a character crisis, like, I don't know who to pick. I'm picking between this character, and it's like, I like that character. I like Scorpion. I like MK. I'm going to pick Scorpion. How do you think it affects the Injustice community with the constant array of new characters coming in?
I really don't think it's a huge issue, purely because due to things like online training mode, it's very easy to get matchup knowledge against a character you're unfamiliar with, so long as someone that you know has that character. Mainly because, like, if someone's got, for example, Zatanna, when Zatanna hit, I really wasn't sure what the character's got.
She's messed up. I'll say that now. I bought her, and she is very messed up.
Shoutouts to Pim Pim Jin. He recently won. He actually recently won a weekly at the GGA with Zatanna. It was a really nice showcase of what the character can do.
Good.
But yeah, I don't think it's an issue, purely because if I want to learn how to fight a character, I'll just find someone that's got the character, and then I'll go into online training, and then they'll just debunk the character with me. I don't have Batgirl downloaded, but because my friend Carnage has Batgirl and mains her, I know exactly how to fight that character now, even though I don't have the character bought. The only difference is that if you want to play the character yourself, you have to buy them. But if you want to learn how to fight the character, all you need is someone who plays the character to, either have sets with them or go into online training. As far as having additional characters, I do like how they add them after the game, purely because we don't know why Injustice came out the time it did. We don't know why they planned DLC characters. For all we know, they could have released Injustice when they did because they were being pushed for deadlines. I don't know whether that was the case.
Yeah.
But let's say, for example, NetherRealm Studios were being pushed for a deadline and say, look, you must release this game on this date. If they didn't do DLC characters after that, then the roster we got on launch would be the roster we had. There would be no Martian Manhunter, there'd be no Zatanna, there'd be no Zod. It would be, it wouldn't be like incomplete, but there would be a lot of characters that people would have wanted and probably would have been really depressed and not wanting to play the game because their characters weren't in the game. But obviously because of the whole DLC business, and especially now Microsoft don't charge for updates anymore, you can release characters more frequently and just basically give everyone more content, which is just more replay value at the end of the day. I think it's good that, I forgot to address this, but bringing out characters and patches now when the game is hot and people are not demanding as such, but people are addressing the issues now and they're addressing the problems as they come. I personally actually prefer that format because I'm not going to lie, I didn't like the patches in Mortal Kombat because they were very up and down. It was like a seesaw of patches. Some character was good and then they just got nerfed to the ground. Like Kano, for example. Kano got destroyed in patches and they ended up being the worst character in the game. But I really don't feel that is the case with Injustice because I think it's better to make slight tweaks to the game now while people want to play it than you have the Street Fighter X Tekken treatment of the game goes unplayed for a whole year, everyone hates the game, nothing happens to the game, it remains what a lot of people consider to be like a broken mess. That's not necessarily my opinion, but a lot of people thought the game was broken. Yeah. And then a year later they bring out 2013 edition, which had loads of changes, but unfortunately...
Too late.
A lot of people thought it was too late. They played the game for a little bit. They really didn't change their mind. They didn't give the game a chance, and they just decided it was a horrendous game again. So I think doing patches frequently, I personally think is a better way to do it because, you're addressing the issues for the people that are playing the game. You're not just like holding out for a year and then gambling that someone might like it when it comes out afterwards, and they probably won't like it. Like that's really what happened to Street Fighter X Tekken. No one gave it a chance.
You know what? I've kind of you've swayed me. Now I see it from your point of view. Yeah, I think that might have saved Cross Tekken. Like, because I really like Cross Tekken. I think it's definitely one of the cleanest fighting games.
I really enjoyed it. I only stopped playing Street Fighter X Tekken because Injustice came out, obviously. So if I'm going to put all my time into a game, I'd rather it be another Realm game. I really enjoyed Street Fighter X Tekken. I mean, the only thing, fundamentally, it's not really my cup of tea. I'm not a big fan of how you can get like 60% combo into 50-50 setup from like hit confirming a jab, but you know, some people do like that. You know, I kind of had this thing where I played characters I liked, so I played King and Yoshimitsu. They probably were a crap team, but they're fun to play. Like if King was in Street Fighter 4, I'd play it.
I don't know. That seems like a really.
You couldn't get a lot of damage.
Could you not?
I had a lot of tech. But whereas with Yoshimitsu and King, I get mix-ups with other characters. If I paired them with Yoshimitsu, I'd get 60% combo. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of
true. Yeah.
You know,
fair enough.
I probably could have paired Yoshimitsu with someone like a more damaging character and got better results just through damage alone. But like I said, you know, it just other games came out that I wanted to play, so I dropped it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But yeah, again, you've definitely made me see it from another way. I think that sort of mentality, how NetherRealms are doing it, kind of keeping it fresh in people's minds that their eye is still on this game and they're trying to make it better, playable, tournament worthy by constantly changing it, addressing stuff, rather than what Cross Tekken did with just leaving it for so ever long and then going, oh look, we've revamped this game, and it's like, nah, it's too late now, we don't like it.
Well, the thing is, NetherRealm have actually waited with these patches. Like this patch is considered quite a big one purely because there's been a good amount of tournaments since then. Characters have been debunked slightly. Obviously, there's always more to find, but I think enough has been found with every character, bar the ones that just aren't getting played, like Cyborg and Lex and all those other characters. Enough has been found with the characters that had blatant problems, like Lobo, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you don't know how to fight Lobo, you'll still get blown up like any character. But I think it's been discovered by now that Lobo has got blatant holes and he does need buffs because he's not a good enough character.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, he's got really good stuff. I mean, I still play Lobo. Like, he's not my main, but I still play him for fun and I do well with the character. It's just, you know, I feel that there are just a few fixes that he needs just to, like, obviously his blatant lack of wake up, his armor doesn't work properly, and you know, all this stuff. And then they're addressing those in patches, so, you know, I can't really complain anymore. He's getting given exactly what he needed to, because a lot of his moves just didn't make sense.
Right. Yeah, and I was going to say, what do you think about the future buffs that are coming? I mean, the noticeable one I remember is Shazam, only because I play Flash, but normally when I play a game, I pick the character I like, and I pick a character that I don't see. And I never really saw any Flashes when the game first came out, and I'll try some stuff with him, the whole grab setup thing. It was okay, and then obviously they buffed it, and now it's good, and now they're buffing it again. And
Shazam is definitely he's like literally a grappler through and through. If you want to use Shazam to his like highest effectiveness, you have to go for grab vortex. And as like I said before, because I've got a couple of friends of mine actually play Shazam. Like the best Shazam I know is Omega K. He doesn't really play Shazam that much anymore, but he had a really good Shazam. He just dropped the character because he basically didn't like being effortlessly counterpicked. That was the main issue.
Right.
But as like I said before, I like how these buffs they're giving characters. I'm not sure about Joker though. The Joker's, I don't really play the character, but I'm aware that a lot of Joker players aren't really happy with his buffs. But as far as Shazam is concerned, again, like I said, they've not made it like he can now get in for free, but they're buffing him so he's getting more damage. He's getting a better grab. So basically, when you get in, you are now going to do more damage when you get in. So you're going to be more dangerous for still playing the character to their strengths. It's just you still have to work hard if you want to beat your bad matchups. But that's kind of like that. It's like that in any fighting game.
Yeah, I'd say so. What do you think about the Bane buffs? Was it really
I am very glad that they were very careful with Bane's buffs. They could have easily buffed the character into top 10. Like, if they didn't understand the character, because Bane players were actually saying, do not overbuff this character, because he will become top 10 and he will destroy everyone and people will whinge about him. Because it just turned out that Bane was not as bad as everyone thought. He definitely needed his first buffs where he got, where Bane, his debuff wasn't as severe and he got a dash buff. He needed that dash buff, like no question. The dash buff was the biggest thing that Bane could have got. But like I said, people were saying they wanted a cancelable raging charge. That would have been nonsense because there would have been nothing from stopping Bane from just doing constant cancels or letting it go and just basically being untouchable for like 18 seconds.
That does sound incredibly silly. Incredibly silly to do.
The main thing that Mustard wanted for the Bane was, he said, this character is really solid, but what really stops him from being really amazing is the debuff, because he can get absolutely destroyed when his debuff is prominent, because the amount of damage he takes is just ridiculous. Like I fought Mustard at Insomnia, and he was beating me. It was losers finals. So whoever won got through the grand finals to fight Foxy in the grand finals. And it was like, he was outplaying me, but he had to use his level 3 to stay in and just stay on me. Right. And I managed to get him off, and I had like so much less life than he did. He really had me on the ropes, but because I knocked it, I think it was like because I knocked him down and did focus, and he was level 3 debuff, his health just shot down. And although I won the match and I won the set, it felt like unfair. Like it really felt like he shouldn't have had to work that hard just to get all his life lost because, you know, focus, unblockable gunshots into bloody debuff was a thing. But I'm glad that if they're not gonna lower the debuff, they're gonna buff him further when he's in Venom. So at least that was, you know, I like how they did that. It's more of a reason to go level 3 now, so you take less damage.
Is there any other buffs or nerfs you want to address while we're on the topic?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm looking forward to seeing what other characters might get. Like, I think it'd be quite interesting if a character like Grundy gets buffs, or even a character like Lex. He might get some buffs as well. I'm actually just excited to see what they give characters, because I really want the sort of the gap between bad character and good character. I want that gap to not be such a, you know,
dominating factor.
Thing.
Yeah.
And it looks like if they're just improving characters so they can play their game better, I'm just looking forward to seeing what other characters get given, because I'm expecting a lot of characters to get touched here. Obviously, I'm pretty sure Superman's getting nerfed. If Batman gets no nerfs, I will be very surprised, because he hasn't been touched since the game came out. And he's like one of that. I personally feel like Batman is one of the best characters in the game. I feel like my personal opinion is Superman's number 3, Wonder Woman's number 2, and Batman is number 1. I genuinely think Batman is the best character in the game.
Wonder Woman's number 2?
Yeah, I think Wonder Woman is the second best character in the game. I mean, it's probably a very controversial opinion. I'm pretty sure a lot of people would disagree. But just after fighting Foxy's Wonder Woman for so long and just seeing what the character can do, she is a headache. Because she beats so many characters, but she also goes head to head with like all the other best characters in the game. Like, there is nothing that the character needs further. She has everything she could ever want. And she doesn't have to use meter to hurt you. She can get 40% meterless. But the main thing is when she touches you, it becomes a dice roll. Like, there's so much she can do, especially when she corners you. If she corners you, it's like GG's. It's like there's very little. You have to guess right in like such a lopsided situation. It's very dangerous.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing like any really good Wonder Woman. I think the best I've seen on stream-wise anyway is Nerd Josh. I don't think he's playing her anymore. I don't think. It's
you really need to either see or play Foxy's Wonder Woman. It really is something else. I know CD Junior is now playing Wonder Woman, and he's starting to do well. He's starting to play the character a lot, and he's getting some decent results now. I think she's going to be one of these characters that's going to come, and everyone's going to. I would personally think that a lot of people are going to start coming out and saying, "There's Wonder Woman. She's so good. I think she's the best," and all that kind of stuff. I just genuinely think Wonder Woman is like the second best character next to Batman. Superman is undeniably the easiest to play, but I just think that Batman and Wonder Woman are better characters.
Right, like sort of like technically and theory wise, they can do more than Superman can. Where Superman is just he's
43.
Not, yeah, I wasn't gonna say brain dead, but that's kind of the best way to describe him.
He's one of the easiest characters in the game to play, without question. A lot of people confuse, easy to play with amazing. Obviously, a lot of people sleep on Martian Manhunter even. Like, Rio is absolutely demolishing people with Martian Manhunter at the moment. That character is really, really good. And I think because Rio is the only real person representing Martian Manhunter at the moment in tournament.
Yeah.
Which is, to be honest, much to my surprise. That character is fantastic.
I think Sabin tried him at...
I don't think Sabin plays... he plays too many games, really. I love how he plays every game. I think he does a lot, obviously the whole streaming, and he plays all kinds of games. So
it's kind of he's kind of stretched that too thin, sort of thing. You're trying to say?
No, I wouldn't say too thin, but he definitely stretches himself out for fighting games. But it's a good thing he's a really good fighting game player, so he can actually get results in most games.
Yeah, fundamentally, he is a very solid player in general, regardless of what game he's playing. He can just pick up a game and one last thing before we close off this podcast, I was going to ask your thoughts on the player mentality. I think this is something you want to touch upon as well. The way people address injustice, whether it be, I've come from Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, so I can do the strategies, tactics I've come from there and bring it to this. I can come with the tech in the same way. And obviously the offline mentality compared to the online, where you get a lot of people that don't agree with how you play Deadpool in your...
That's right.
Yeah, sorry, Deathstroke.
Same difference.
Marvel, yeah, same difference. Death, whoever, how you play in Injustice. Obviously, in an offline environment, a tournament, it's obviously a lot more, I wouldn't say, kind of acceptable, where if you do it online in a ranked match, you get, obviously, abuse held at you from every which way. Yeah,
I think that player mentality is something that really bugs me. I'm not saying that online is breeding these arseholes. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is...
that's where they like to hang out? You trying to say that?
Well, it's like I said, a lot of people that play Injustice aren't necessarily high-level fighting game players. They are a lot of people that play are that mix between hardcore gamer that likes to play fighting games for fun. They play a lot of other games, and they'll put Injustice on. Like, I had rage mail from this guy that's motto was Injustice, COD, Black Ops 2. And it's like a third.
That says everything, doesn't it, really?
And I think that it's unfortunate that a lot of people have this mentality of they don't really want... A lot of people played Injustice when it came out, probably wanting to be like amazing at it straight away. Like a lot of there are some MK players, for example. I can't really name names because it was just the odd person. But some people, online players, for example, that played Mortal Kombat, they just really wanted to be good at Injustice straight away because they thought, I can play Mortal Kombat, so I'm going to be like the Don at Injustice straight away. And a lot of people thought, I'm amazing at Street Fighter, so I'm going to play Injustice and be amazing straight away. A lot of people kind of had that kind of mentality. Mm-hmm. And because Injustice is so different, and it really is its own game, but you have to put every fighting game that you can play, put it aside and go, right, I'm playing Injustice. So, I can't play it like it's something else. So if you're going to try and play Street Fighter 4 or Mortal Kombat against someone that's playing Injustice, you're really going to have a hard time because they're using what the game is giving them, and you're, getting frustrated, and, because the game isn't the way you want to play it, you're not really going to be very happy. But addressing the whole Deathstroke thing, like I recently put out a video. If you find me on YouTube, it's just PND Ketchup. I put out a video just over a week ago, and I was trying to really debunk Deathstroke spamming. I'm moving my fingers while I say spamming, because I kind of got a bit fed up. I've never been one to let rage mail get to me. Because I understand that the other person I'm playing probably isn't going to be as advanced as I am in terms of just, what level they played their game at. But so they're probably, they're misinformed. They're thinking that I'm doing something which, I'm really thinking about what I'm doing, but they don't see that. Because I'd recently I took second place at the Insomnia Invitational Finals at Telford, like I said. So I was really at last feeling, because I had the longest character crisis. I started to think, right, now I feel like I am at that level that I can do well against the rest of the UK's best players. And I kind of proved that to myself at the tournament. So I was finally at a position where I was feeling good about my level at Injustice. And then obviously I hop online again using all of the setups and stuff that I'd been grinding for hours in training, trying to find all this stuff to try and make my Deathstroke unique. I just get abuse hurled at me just because the other guy just wants to jump into gunshots and they want to bloody dash into it and push buttons and that kind of stuff. So I put out just a YouTube video which is just trying to debunk it and basically say, look, this is what you do. If you think this is unbeatable, it's not, because here are the reasons. I was basically showing it all. And it's really nice to go to an offline tournament, and whether I win or lose, it's nice to be able to play Deathstroke play the Deathstroke the way I want to play, which is I want to frustrate you with projectiles, try and get you to start dashing in or jumping, and if you get within like that range, I'll start using my jump 3, I'll start playing my 50-50s, I'll start poking at you with my low string, and I'll start doing mix-ups on you. Like, Deathstroke is a hybrid zoner. If the other guy's going to show you that he's going to do nothing about gunshots, I won't do anything else until someone shows me they can. But if someone shows me that they do know how to work their way in, then it becomes much more of a game about patience and stuff. And like I said, like when I was playing everyone at Insomnia, at no point did it feel like I was just going to be able to spam gunshots into grand finals. Every single person I fought knew how to play Injustice, and it's really nice to play other like good players that they use their brains and they work their way in, and they make it an absolute headache to get me off. And that's I like the difference. It's very nice to go to a tournament and not get abuse hurled at me. I just wish that online players would kind of, to be honest, lower their ego a little bit, sort of just accept that a lot of online players need to realise they're not as good as they think they are. They need to stop hurling abuse at other players, and they need to grind out matchups just like everyone else. And if they're not going to do that, then they're not going to win. Simple.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I've had a previous podcast sort of touching upon offline and online communities and obviously the metagame between people. I definitely want to do another one with yourself and some other people that we're trying to get arranged. It will be cool to get the sort of insight from different games, because the one I did previous was about Cross Tekken online community and offline. And where Cross Tekken, I feel their online community is completely different to the online community in any other game. Like you said, you get abuse held at you and Injustice for Deathstroke. In Cross Tekken, you don't really get that because the community is so. I
never got rage mail when I used to play X Tekken. It was quite nice because I still respected all the guys that played X Tekken because, like I said, like they're not going to tournaments and all that kind of stuff, but they're still playing the game. Yeah, they like the game, so they're going to play it, and I really respect that.
I don't think there would be much of a Cross Tekken if there wasn't the online. I think the online has held Cross Tekken as a playable game, like tournament worthy, for people to actually look at it and respect the game. If it wasn't for the online, I think it would be long dead. Like Capcom Fighting Jam dead. Like just not even in the history books at all. So yeah, it
was nice to see some of the UK X Tekkens. I think I really can't remember the names too good, but a lot of the sort of X Tekken players, they follow the UK fighting game page on Facebook. They used to talk about X Tekken all the time. I used to play online with them. It was quite nice because they actually kind of welcomed me back into it. Before 2013 came out, I decided I really wanted to give the new version a go.
Yeah. So
I just was like, look, I want to play this game again. Who still plays? And can you level me up? And the UK guys helped. Like they brought me into Endless, and I kind of got back up to speed. Adjusted to the changes with 2013, and they announced a tournament in Yates with Unequal Media, and a good amount of the online players actually went to the tournament, and some of them did really well. They did really well. It was nice to see them there. I don't know whether they'd gone to tournaments in the past, but it was nice to see them there at least.
Yeah, it's always good to get online faces to go to an offline tournament. Definitely improves the scene.
It's like that with Injustice. I'm really happy with because we don't have loads and loads and loads of players, but there are people in the UK that really want to play Injustice, and they go to tournaments and they enjoy themselves at tournaments. They want to get better at the game, and they're sticking at it. A lot of people that there are people that I didn't, quite a few of the MK guys are playing Injustice now. But there are a lot of people that come from other games, like Jackie Chan, used to play Marvel a lot, is now playing Injustice with the other Birmingham guys. The Birmingham guys at Electronic Dojo and that, they're really, they're sticking Injustice as well. They're really good as well.
Right.
And there are players like, there's people around the Newport area that are going to be going to that Newport tournament. There are people that are going to be going to the Play Expo for that recently announced Injustice tournament. And I think it's nice to have a fighting game where all of the best players just aren't in London. It's like the Injustice community is kind of spread out all over the place. So Telford wasn't really an issue for a lot of people because everyone kind of had to travel the same distance. So everyone kind of put in the same effort to go to a tournament, and it was decent. It was really nice to see a lot of people playing it. I mean, I know there are all these bloody people that played the game and they used I'm going to say it. They used patches as an excuse to drop the game, which it always used to do my head in because the patches are very minor. And some people are like, oh man, it's just like MK, they're ruining their game with patches. But it's like, hang on, the patches are actually improving the game. And they're not very prominent. Literally, the three most significant changes were universal upgrades down 2s, Flash's buffs, and Deathstroke's nerfs. And I wouldn't call those grounds to drop a game, personally. Unless you're a Deathstroke player that just wanted to do gunshots from full screen.
Oh, in my defense, my reasoning behind it was that it was more of a principle thing where it was like, I'm playing the Flash, and my forward dash is like one of the shortest ones in the game. Like
they buffed it.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, now they buffed it. Now I'm playing it more. But before it was like, dude, this, and it's like, this isn't the Flash. How can the Flash have like, not the worst forward dash, but it should be the
Flash. How can the Flash not have agility?
Exactly. That was my thought process, and then I thought, you know what? Screw you, Flash. This is too much hard work. You can get the wins, you can do the damage, but to get in is too much hard work. But now I've got no excuse because he's got the running man stance and the forward dashes. I'm gonna probably record some matches, probably, because before all I did was sort of like training mode. Oh, look at this concept, blah 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 blah. I think for me that's where I get most of my fun out of a fighting game is a training mode. Like I can't.
I'm the different. I go to training mode just as much as the next guy, but I relish going online or playing someone locally using all of my tech and then getting the hate.
Oh yeah. I do like frustrating people. I do like that. I like giving that salt.
And the whole MK throwing clothes at people with Noob Cybot, and that was like fantastic. I had all this other stuff with Noob that I knew about. Like he's got all this sort of not frame traps as such, but he has a lot of other stuff as well. But it was really fun getting rage mail from people that couldn't beat clones, because I love Noob Cybot. He throws man at you. He just throws himself at you.
That is the best move. That was the only character I played in MK9.
It was fun. But yeah, Deathstroke is the deal. Like, I get it's weird because the only thing that frustrates me is I guess I have a reputation now, like, because if I beat people in ranked and get people sending messages like, I thought you were good, but you're just like a spamming nobody wins. I'm like, oh Jesus. I kind of feel like I have a lot to lose from losing at random online matches, and I'm just trying to play the game and have fun.
Yeah. Deathstroke has definitely got that sort of rep now where it's like,
he's got stigma, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know what they can do to get rid of it. I don't think they can. I think he's going to be put in with Morgan now. He's just one of them characters that everyone's going to hate. I mean, I think Black Adam had that for a bit. I remember my mate saying people would they would quit before the match even started as soon as they saw Black Adam, because they said, I'm not playing Black Adams.
Yeah. Oh my god. I will say I'm a bit concerned Deathstroke may get enough in the new patch. Because, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if they will or not, because Deathstroke isn't dominating tournaments at all. Like, to be honest, Deathstroke never dominated to begin with. Arish just was really solid with Deathstroke and did well at Wednesday Night Fights a few times.
Yeah.
I'm a bit nervous that Deathstroke may get further nerfs. I'm pretty sure if the nerfs aren't really severe, I'm still going to play him, because he's still who I feel to be my strongest character. And that's outside of Gunshots, so I can zone with him, but I'm pretty sure if they nerf anything with Deathstroke, it will be Gunshots further. I mean, I personally quite like it if Gunshots him an overhead, purely because it's kind of like it would have the Noob Cybot syndrome of full screen mix-ups, but I'm pretty sure like if they gave it that, people would quit the game and then they'd win, because that would be, people wouldn't really be able to, they wouldn't be able to scout it and they'd get hit by it all the time. I just like it because it'd be annoying.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be.
It's not Noob Cybot from full screen, really.
I'm gonna have to close up the podcast, mate, just because your mic's starting to crack up a little bit. But yeah, it's getting some sort of stack sound. I don't know. It sounds like you plugged your headset into a TV or something. It sounds really weird.
Oh, sorry about that. I don't know. I'm not really done with it.
That's all right. I mean, that was the last thing I was going to talk about anyway.
No problem.
I'd definitely like to get you on another podcast on other subjects, mainly the online sort of thing. And if I can, or even if you can, recruit a couple of people to do a scoring system for Injustice. I mean, I don't know if you've listened to my other podcasts with the other games, but basically instead of tiering characters against other characters, I've done a sort of scoring system. So you take, say, 5 or 10 aspects in a game, so footsies, projectiles, blah, 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 keep away, and then score each character individually on those aspects. And then, and then give them an overall score, and then tier them from that. So you're not saying, oh, this character's not good because he loses against Superman or whatever. So it's basically on their own character's merits.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to get you on that. But before we go, is there any shout-outs you want to do? If you want to plug your YouTube, where people can find you?
Well, obviously, first things first, shout out to my sponsor, ft.RZR, Magnus. Just sort of the usual, really, giving them a shout out for sort of supporting me. And I'm going to give a shout out to Touch and Might. It's the go-to website for anything to do with Mortal Kombat or the new upcoming Killer Instinct or Injustice mainly at the moment. You find out all the information for tournaments worldwide, whether it be in the UK or France or America, anywhere the information's on there. Make sure to check out the UK Fighting Game page on Facebook if you're from the UK and you want to get into fighting games. You can check that out, or you can check out Outworld Fighters, which is a UK Facebook page which I created, which caters to just NetherRealm Studios games. So if you want to know more about Injustice specifically, people on there are always happy to give you, sort of just give you some pointers. And you can find me on YouTube, which is P&D Ketchup. I generally put out whatever videos are on my mind. I put up random online sessions sometimes, tech videos and all that kind of malarkey. And I think that's it really. You can find me on Twitter, which is RZR_CG_Ketchup. Again, same kind of deal. If I'm on a podcast or if I put out something, I'll generally put it on my Twitter as well. And yeah, that should be everything.
Wicked. What I'll do is I'll definitely put your Deathstroke debunking on the Mash and Pad page.
No problem.
I've already put the Play Evo fighting tournament. That's already on there.
Fantastic.
Try and spread the word a little bit.
That's actually a couple of things I forgot to mention. In Newport, I think it's either September or November. I think it might be November. There is a tournament called Dynamite Rumble. It's a memorial to the late Dan Hill, aka Circle Masher, and there's a tournament being held for him, which is going to have Street Fighter 4, Marvel, and Street Fighter Third Strike. I think it's Street Fighter 4 and Injustice, another tournament there. So if you're around the Wales area, make sure you check out Dynamite Rumble. And there's also recently announced Play Expo in Manchester are going to have an Injustice tournament as well. So there's a couple of upcoming UK tournaments which you should be able to make if you want to and you're around that area.
Oh.
Make sure to check it out.
So that Manchester one's got the Play Expo, so I just looked at it properly now. They've got Yagataratsu and Tekken as well, yeah?
I think so. I think it's Electronic Dojo will be there, and Arms will be doing streaming, I think.
Okay, cool.
That'd be the only reason I think Arms would be there. But yeah, there's a couple and make sure to check them out if you want to compete. Yeah,
I'll post all of the tournaments and your contactable connections on our Mash on Pad page. Don't forget, everyone, like the page, subscribe to the YouTube so you can get updated with all the podcasts that we're putting out. That will be it. Hopefully, again, like I said, we'll probably get Ketchup on. Would be cool to get Mustard on as well at the same time.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be happy to.
But yeah, we'll definitely arrange something. If anyone's got any topics or ideas of a podcast to have, or any questions you want to ask them, let me know and I'll make sure to throw a question at them on the next one. Obviously, no silly troll questions because I will just ignore them. But yeah, normal, relevant questions. Oh, one other thing. Is there any other sort of game that you're kind of keeping your fingers in, or is it literally just Injustice at the moment?
I think I'm actually really looking forward to the new Killer Instinct. I've waited 15 years for a new Killer Instinct, so I've been hyped for that ever since it was announced at E3. I'm a bit disheartened because of the whole sort of, there's only going to be 6 characters on launch, one of them being a new. So that means that only 5 of the original 10 will actually be playable.
Right.
And seeing as the game takes place after the events of Killer Instinct 2, I don't think Riptor's going to be in it, and he was my favourite character.
Oh, yeah, Reptile was
but Sable's still going to be in it, so I've still got him. It's going to basically, Killer Instinct is the only game that I'm looking forward to right now. Out of all the next gen, it's literally the only game I care about. And that's going to be the next game that I'm going to try and play. I'm going to try and play Injustice and KI, because KI will be like, the main game I play when it comes out, but I'm still going to play Injustice.
Okay.
Other than that, to be honest, just Killer Instinct mainly.
Oh, no, that's good. Focused. I wish I could do that. I wish I could just play 2 games instead of having to dip my toe in all these bloody piranha infested pools.
I mess around with Street Fighter 4, but I'm not very good at it, and my disc doesn't work at the moment, so I can't play it even if I wanted to.
Maybe that's what I should do. I should just scratch all the games that I don't like, and then it's like I can't go back to that game now.
A reason not to play them.
Yeah, that might help. Then I might actually get good at another game. But yeah, thanks again for coming on, Ketchup. Much appreciated, mate. Thanks everyone for listening. C4 out. See you later, guys.